The views and opinions of this broadcast do not reflect the views and opinions of Armed Media, New Productions, and its affiliates. Enjoy the show.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Armed Radio. You are listening to Two Beards Talking. I am Daniel Sanders.
And I'm DonnieJ.
And as we always do at the start of every show, we want to give a big shout out to the troops out there, men and women serving overseas, protecting our country, and here on the home front. We appreciate everything y'all are doing. Keep up the good work. Come home safe. We're all rooting for you here back home. So we're going to roll right into it because we got a lot to discuss tonight. The very first thing we're going to discuss, very tragic incident that occurred yesterday morning.
Right. NBA legend Kobe Bryant and his daughter Gianna were killed in a helicopter crash as their helicopter was leaving Orange County, John Wayne Airport in Orange County. They left about 9:06 a.m. and the crash occurred around 9:47. And he was among, I believe, 9 people that were killed in the crash, and the whole sports world is just reeling right now. And our thoughts and prayers go out to his wife and to his other 2 daughters. That's a talent that will never be able to be replaced.
Right. Yes. Very, very sad incident. Now, I've never really been one to follow basketball. Especially after Space Jam.
Well, Kobe's one of the rarities. I mean, he and LeBron are just like a handful of people who went straight from high school into the NBA.
Right.
Usually,
and were successful.
I mean, there's several that have tried it unsuccessfully. Kobe was just, if you ever followed any basketball at all, he was just unbelievable. Scoring records. He's like number 3 on the all-time scoring list.
Yeah.
Just a phenomenal. I mean, everybody knows who Kobe Bryant.
I would say he's kind of like the Michael Jordan,
right.
of this generation.
Right.
Because
I had Jordan, and then
back in the 90s, you couldn't talk about basketball without Jordan's name being brought up.
Of course not.
Or the likes of Shaquille O'Neal or all of them.
Right.
And now you have, like you said, LeBron, Kobe, and I don't know. Like I said, I don't follow basketball, but I know LeBron and I know Kobe.
Right, and the sports world is just completely reeling right now. The Grammys let off last night with a tribute to Kobe Bryant, and it is a tragedy. One of these things that you never see coming.
Yeah. And we're not going to talk about the Grammys just because I don't care about the Grammys.
Not a big fan either. I was reading the list, actually on my radio station the other day, I was reading a list of the artists that were selected for, because my station is a country music station, we're reading a list of the artists that were selected for Song of the Year and Record of the Year, and I got to be quite honest with you, some of the songs I'm like, I have not even heard them. And I'm like, I know the artist, but I'm not familiar with the work. Not simply because we don't play it, because I haven't heard it on many stations at all. And I'm like, who in the hell are these people? But the requirements, if you ever, without going into detail, the requirements for being a Grammy nominee, your song has to come out within a certain amount of time. Mm-hmm. It has to impact a certain amount of people if you're best new artist of the year. I mean, the requirements for each category are different, and it's just you would think, wow, that's a great song. That's going to get a Grammy. No, a lot of great songs don't even get nominated for a Grammy because of all the weird-ass requirements that they have. But we won't get into that.
Yeah.
We have something much more important to deal with tonight.
Well, before we get into that, also, another thing we need to discuss is I think it was 30 service members.
Yes.
That were killed in a helicopter crash yesterday as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so very, very sad incident.
30 Marines and 1 sailor that were killed in a helicopter crash. And you brought something up earlier when we were preparing for the show. What's up with all the crashes going on? I mean, is this just is this bad maintenance on aircraft? Is it pilot error? Is it what's happening?
It's my understanding now. as far as the
This was in Iraq too.
Yeah.
Camp Fallujah. Yeah.
now, as far as the Kobe crash, it's my understanding that one of the causes that led to that was inclement, foggy weather. So very limited visibility. The incident with the military helicopter in Iraq, I mean, because it's military, we're not going to have a whole lot of details about it. Nor should we. But I mean,
I can tell you this: 30 Marines and one sailor. I'm reading that as 30 Marines and one hospital corpsman. I'm guessing, and I would say that's an educated guess. 30 Marines and one sailor. That's probably a corpsman, and my heart goes out.
Could have been the pilot.
Could have been.
More than likely was a corpsman though, because. I mean, yeah, 30 Marines, that's a platoon-sized element right there.
And they need a corpsman, so,
So
because they're not smart enough to do their own doctoring, so. Sorry, I had to do that. I had to say that.
God,
sorry.
you just had to do it. And, come on.
You always dig at me. I never get a shot at you, so there's my one shot. But seriously, on a very serious note, our thoughts and prayers and our heartfelt thoughts go out to the families of all of those who probably haven't been notified yet.
Right.
It's just something that that's just it's a tragedy, but it's part of when you put on the uniform, you know that can happen at any given moment.
Yeah. So our main topic of discussion this evening, and this is a very, very serious topic, and I'm hoping enough word gets spread about this to help out with this. A friend of mine from New York has brought it to my attention with this case. In June of 2019, in Camden, Arkansas, a young mother and her 4-year-old child were brutally murdered. Alyssa Cannon and her 4-year-old son, Braden Ponder, were brutally murdered by her fiance, Jory Worthen. And the details, you can look back through the history of this case. As a matter of fact, In Pursuit with John Walsh actually just did a bit on this case. They're on their second season right now, and it was episode 2 of the second season that covered this story. So a little bit of the background is Alyssa and Jory had been in a previous relationship before, and then in 2017, he physically assaulted her, and she filed an order of protection against him.
And he was arrested.
They have police photos showing the physical assault that he made on her, bruises
and his mugshots.
Yes, and his mugshots.
And then, as so often happens, this wasn't enough of a warning for her, and I've never understood this. She took him back.
Yeah, about 8 months later, they began a relationship again. Actually, got engaged.
Yeah,
and it was. Everything seemed fine, and then according to information that's been made public by the family, Alyssa's mother was expecting her grandson to be dropped off for the weekend while Alyssa and Jory went to a movie, and when they didn't show up, the mother began texting and was told that plans had changed. Jory's father had come up and picked them up and was taking them to Texarkana for the weekend. So, mother just kind of let it go. Okay, things changed, whatever.
Right.
And then when Alyssa was supposed to return, she said she had to be back to work a couple of days later.
Right, Monday.
Yeah.
Like on a Monday.
Had to be back to work and...
Never came to work.
Yeah, she never came to work. She never dropped her son off with her mother so she could watch him. And the mother became concerned because now not only is her daughter and grandson not there, but now her messages to her are not being delivered via phone. Phone calls are not going through. So the mother drove to Texarkana to Jory's parents' house. And when she arrived, found out that Jory's father had not gone anywhere that weekend. They hadn't talked to Jory in a week and had no idea where he was. So, also, I left this out, so Alyssa's car was missing from home. You know, mother's thought process was, well, if Jory's dad had come and picked them up, then her car should be at the house.
Right.
Excuse me. So, mother goes to Camden Police Department, files a missing persons report, and Camden Police go and do a welfare check at the residence, and that is when they discovered Alyssa and Braden's body.
Right. And you know, and this piece of shit is 6'2", 157 pounds. So he's tall, kind of skinny, brown hair, brown eyes, and covered with tattoos, lots of tattoos. And he was last seen. They had a report that they saw him. He was sighted in. They believe that he's in Alaska right now. That's what they think, and they put out an alert in Alaska. But he was also, I believe, seen. I believe they thought he was in Georgia at one point.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm on I'm on a website here that has a timeline of updates and everything. So in July of 2019, a man was arrested in connection who said he'd been in contact with Jory a few days after the murder, and he is currently being held in prison. That was July 31st of 19. Then
he's charged with hindering apprehension or prosecution.
Yes.
They said his bond at $100,000. So.
Yes. So we fast forward about a week, August 7th, and now U.S. Marshals are involved in the search for Jory. Her vehicle was actually found abandoned in a Burger King parking lot in Seattle, Washington. Mm-hmm. So they suspect he either has somebody assisting him in Seattle, and that's where he's at in that region, or they suspect he had somebody drive the vehicle in an effort to kind of throw them off his scent. Mm-hmm. He's not leaving any kind of digital footprint behind. He's not accessing bank accounts.
Strangely, he's playing this smart, and which is, you wouldn't think so, but he basically has become a ghost. No digital footprints, no Facebook, no social media. He's not using his bank card. He's apparently somehow or another has traveled. I don't know if he's stolen a car or if he's just how he's getting around, but. He's basically become a ghost. It's because he's eluded capture for over a year now.
Yeah,
and that's strange.
Yeah, well,
in this day and age, that's hard to do.
Yeah,
because there's cameras everywhere. Because I mean, if you do anything, if you go to a convenience store, if you stop at a gas station, if you go anywhere, they're gonna have a picture of you.
Yeah.
There's closed circuit cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
And this guy's he's ghosted.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, law enforcement is speculating that he could be in the Pacific Northwest region, Alaska, Canada, northwestern U.S., in that area. But, there have been sighting reports from Louisiana, from Texas, from Ohio, from Georgia, just all of these different locations. They said he does have ties to people in Texas. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, like you said, he's playing it smart.
Very, very much so.
And it's a very frustrating. I know it's frustrating for the family. It's frustrating for law enforcement. Mm-hmm. And, even though I have no personal ties or connection to this, it's frustrating for me because I hate seeing, first and foremost, this whole incident seems after looking at everything, seems more premeditated than heat of the moment, crime of passion kind of thing.
Exactly, because he's covered his footprint so well.
Yeah.
So this could have been something that's been smoldering for quite a while. But they thought everything was fine, and then it wasn't, and then everything was fine again, and then all of a sudden, I mean, there was an argument between he and Alyssa, and he forced her to buy him another cell phone because he broke
that was the incident that led to the order of protection.
Right,
the first time.
right.
And he broke his phone, pulled her out of work, jerked her into the vehicle, assaulted her, threatened to kill her, and this is in her writing on the order of protection. Threatened to kill her and kill himself, all because he broke his phone. And he wanted her to buy him a new one.
And here's the thing, and I don't get this. As I said earlier, after all this happened, they patched things up and they got back together. I understand, forgiveness is fine. But when something like this happens, if he sought professional help, if he had therapy, if he had been through, months and months of anger management and therapy and that sort of thing, and then he had proven that he was a different person, that's one thing. But seemingly a very short amount of time goes by, and she took him back. This is a wake-up call. Here's a red flag. Here's a lesson to be learned from this. At the first sign of domestic violence, it's time to bail. It's time to get the hell out of Dodge.
Right.
Unless the person receives professional help, seeks professional counseling, and actually proves that they are a different person. Simply coming back and saying, I'm sorry and I'll never do it again, has time and again been proven to be false.
Yeah.
And another thing, they think that he's in Alaska. Alaska's a haven, and this is why. Because of the pipelines, because of working in Alaska itself is dangerous. It's very rough work, and it's very attractive to a lot of people who don't want to be found.
Yeah.
You can make good money, and nobody asks a lot of questions because they need manpower, and you can basically use whatever name you want. There are places where you can find another ID, where you can basically do as he has done and disappear from the face of the earth.
So the most recent update available on this case for right now is from December 3rd of 2019. It says a Facebook post from a Georgia bonding company states that Jory Worthen was reportedly seen in Sylvester, Georgia at a Shell station Monday night. And, of course, it's your typical grainy gas station security camera footage.
Right.
So he does have some identifying marks on himself. Well, has a lot of identifying marks on himself.
Yeah.
Man's
tatted up.
Yes, he is. On his right forearm, he has a tattoo that says Matthew 7:6.
Which is puzzling because a lot of people have inspirational. This must mean something personal to him because Matthew 7:6 reads, "Don't give that which is holy to the dogs, neither throw your pearls before the pigs, lest perhaps they trample them under their feet and turn and tear you to pieces." I could probably dissect that and spend some time on that and figure out, but why that is just such a random, strange verse. It's part of Jesus' Sermon on the Mount. It's a strange verse to have, reminisced on your arm.
Yeah. And I've not been to church in a very long time, so I have no idea what if you can interpret that verse and break it down into layman's terms. Please go on our Facebook page and do so. Also, you can go on the Facebook page. We do have his wanted poster on there as well. Mm-hmm. So, and bear in mind that this individual is considered armed and extremely dangerous. Other identifying marks that he has on his left chest, he has a skull with wings. It's the Avenged Sevenfold logo. Mm-hmm. He has a. Can't really make it out here, but
it looks
he
like
does.
A pentagram. It looks almost like a pentagram on at the right side of his chest, but it's not. It's sort of a different symbol, almost like I don't know.
It does. Well, it does appear to be an inverted pentagram, but I've seen that somewhere before. Yeah. It's almost reminiscent of kind of like the image of Baphomet.
Yes. Yep. And then he has some other various tattoos all over his body, but those are the most identifying ones.
And a tattoo on his right hand as well, backside of his right hand. But yes, again, he is considered armed and extremely dangerous. So if you see him, please do not try to be the hero. Let law enforcement do their job, and you can do that by calling U.S. Marshal Service at 1-800-336-0102.
Someone once told me a long time ago, a very wise person said, there's two people in this world that you, pardon the French, that you don't fuck with. One is a crazy person, because they're crazy and they'll do anything they'll do anything, and they'll probably get away with it because they're crazy. Okay. Yeah. They're apt to do just about anything. And the second person is a coward. And I think we can safely assume that anybody who would kill a 20-year-old woman and a 4-year-old boy is pretty much a coward.
Yeah.
Gutless, scum-sucking coward.
And what makes it worse, like I said, I'm pretty sure this was all premeditated.
And if he's armed, and if you push a coward into a corner, and this goes back to what they said, is you don't mess with a coward, because when you back a coward into a corner, they're scared to death, and their only way out is to come out shooting or come out fighting or come out killing. And he beats up on women and children, and this guy's got to be found. He's got to be found soon.
Yeah, we've definitely got to get this guy off the streets for sure. And I mean, it is only a matter of time before he's caught. You can't run and hide forever.
In this day and age, that the fact that he's eluded law enforcement this long, eluded capture, eluded detection this long, it's nothing short of a small miracle. I hate to give credit to him, by saying that he's smart enough to do it. It could just be dumb luck. Then again, I don't really know what to make of that, because like I said, in this day and age, in the digital age, it is very difficult to ghost like he just did.
Yeah. Now, again, if you have any information that would lead to his capture or arrest, you can call the U.S. Marshal's Office at 1-800-336-0102. You can also call the Camden, Arkansas Police Department at area code 870-836-5755. Your tips will remain confidential. And yeah, so again, Camden Police Department, 870-836-5755. Yeah, we've definitely got to get this guy captured. So please go on our Facebook page, Two Beards Talking, and scroll down, find his wanted poster that I've posted on there, and share that. Get it out to as many people as possible, so we can capture this guy. And again, also, like I said, this information was brought out to me by a friend of mine, and you can go on her website. She has a nonprofit organization called Threads of Serenity. It is threadsofserenity.com. And like I said, it's a nonprofit organization. They provide sheets, blankets, and different articles of different clothing to sexual assault and rape survivors during their investigations. When a rape is reported, sheets and various articles of clothing are taken in for evidence, oftentimes leaving the survivor either at home or in the hospital with nothing. So their mission is to provide as much comfort during this time as possible. So, again, check that out. It's threadsofserenity.com, and any donations that you can provide would be greatly appreciated. I think it's a great organization, definitely a great service. We don't have a whole lot of. haven't seen a whole lot of organizations that do
not
stuff like
nonprofits
this.
that do that.
No.
No, actually, and it's a wonderful thing that they do. I mean, there's several excuse me, there's several groups that help rape victims, but just to that extent that what she does alone, I haven't heard of hardly any that do that.
Yeah. So again, threadsofserenity.com. Go check it out, and like I said, if you can, any donation is greatly appreciated for that. So, politics.
You just can't get away from it.
You can't.
You
really can't.
I mean, and it's like I have several friends on social media that are just really up in arms about this. And as disturbing as everything that's going on is to me, I've just quit basically commenting on it because, number one, you're not going to change anyone's mind. It's kind of like the Senate. The votes that are going to vote for the president to be impeached, they're not going to change their mind. And the ones that are going to vote for him to stay in office are not going to change their mind. It's drawn directly down party lines. You're not going to change anyone's mind. It's a foregone conclusion. But that said, here's the funny thing. Online engagement for reports about the President Trump's Senate impeachment trial are dropping. The American people are getting fed up with it. They're getting tired of watching it. They're getting tired of hearing about it. They're getting tired of TV programs being interrupted by it, which goes back to what I've said before, Pan Am and circuses. If you keep the people entertained, you can do whatever you want to. Yeah. They're starting to not be entertained by this anymore.
Yeah, and I think it's because they know he's not going to be removed from office.
No. It would require a level of integrity and honesty, which, quite frankly, I don't see Democrats or Republicans either one having. It's just not there. Because if they number one, do I think that he's guilty? Yes. Do I think that he should be removed from office? Probably. But do I think he should be impeached and removed from office? No, and here's why. If you want to get him out of office, there's this thing that we have called an election. Mm-hmm. Don't vote for him. That's the best way to get him out. Yeah, he's going to be in there for another year, for part of a year, and yeah, he can do more damage. But if you don't like what the president's doing or what he has done, just don't reelect him. But when you weaponize the impeachment process, then you're going down a slippery slope, as we've said on the show before, that you're going to be able to. If a Democrat is elected president, then the Republicans are going to be able to use it against a Democrat that they don't like. Yeah. Now, and another thing I want to address here is a lot of people have this misconception. They say he did not commit a crime. Okay. The Constitution does not say that it has to be the Founding Fathers did not necessarily envision it had to be a crime. High crimes and misdemeanors. Okay. He is supposed to enjoy, like other senators and like judges, his office in good behavior. Now, there are a lot of presidents that have not engaged in good behavior, but they didn't get impeached. What President Trump has done, it is an impeachable offense, abusing his power. That is, you could say that other presidents have done the same thing. They've abused their power. Abusing your power for political gain. Well, why would you do something if it didn't benefit you, if it wasn't for political gain? Because most politicians these days do things to benefit only themselves. However, obstructing Congress, yes, that's a crime. Ignoring subpoenas, yes, that's a crime. Telling people not to obey a subpoena, that's a crime. That's obstruction. That is de facto obstruction of justice, obstructing Congress. And I think as has been said before, the House did not utilize the proper procedure. They didn't get everything that they needed to do legally. They didn't go to the courts first, because had they gone to the courts, then they would have a greater recourse than what they do now. That's all in the past. There's nothing they can do about it now. Back to what we originally were talking about is that people are getting tired of hearing about it. You're losing the public's attention. You're losing their support, because we live in a society where people have a very short attention span.
Right.
There used to be a funny thing on Adult Swim called short attention span theater, and I'm often reminded of this when I'm watching these proceedings, because just a few days ago I was watching the presentation of the charges against the president and the evidence and outlining the things that he had done. Now, Adam Schiff is a pretty engaging orator. He's a very good speaker. He's animated. He holds your attention. He doesn't talk in a monotone. By contrast, for the life of me, this is how engaging she was. I don't even remember her name, but one of the managers that was presenting the evidence, she did everything but stand up there and say, Bueller, Bueller, Bueller. She was in such a monotone, and she just kept on and on. And, of course, the cameras didn't focus on it, but there were reports that some senators were doing crossword puzzles. Some were, just doing various things because they just weren't paying any attention to her. She was not engaging. I mean, not only were the the Republicans not paying attention to her, hell, her own party wasn't paying attention to her. I mean, when you've lost the attention of the people that you're supposed to be representing and working for, you got a problem. And it makes me wonder, it's kind of one of those what the hell were they thinking moments. Because you've got to, in this day and age, you've got to hold people's attention. I'm talking right now, and you're picking your fingernails. So I've lost your attention.
No,
see?
I've got a splinter that I'm trying to get out right now.
But the point I'm making is this has become a boring process, and it is a foregone conclusion that the president is not going to be removed from office by impeachment. Now, I'm kind of humored. It's humorous to see a lot of the posts on social media of people saying it's going to be a landslide in 2020. I think there's going to be a bit of a surprise there.
Well,
I'm not going to say he won't win, but I'm thinking that it's going to be a lot closer than people think.
Well, here and it really all depends on who wins the Democratic primary. In that case. But, the thing about it is, again, the presidential election is not done by popular vote. If it was done by popular vote, then you would have the United States of California, Texas, and Florida.
Exactly, because that's where the majority of the population lie.
Yes.
But the reason we have electoral colleges so the people who are in those less populated states would
have just as big a voice as the people in the more populated. So that's the thing about it. So, for example, if you are a Democrat living in the state of Alabama, you might as well just vote a straight Republican ticket because that's what's going to end up happening is Alabama is going to vote red regardless.
Well, now, yes and no. I mean, you have a point. You make a fair point until the number of Democrats outnumber the Republicans. But,
yes.
But that's any state. That's everywhere.
That is any state, but I don't think it'll ever happen in Alabama. Alabama is too much of a conservative state.
Alabama used to be a Democratic state.
Used to be.
But that was when the Democrat Party was a different party than it is today. The old Democratic Party was different than what we have today.
Yes.
The Republican Party was different than the one today. Roles have been reversed and
yes.
changed, and like the reason I've said in past shows that I decided to switch parties is and become an independent is because I don't recognize the Democratic Party anymore. I don't know what they stand for. I don't know what they represent. Sometimes it's almost like my party has driven straight towards Vladimir Lenin and taken a hard left towards Karl Marx. and I'm like, where are you guys going? And the Republicans are so far right wing. I mean, it's like, I don't. There's got to be a happy medium. There's got to be somewhere in the middle, and that's where I think my interest lies, and a lot of Americans' interests lie. Most people don't realize it, but they're neither Democrat nor Republican. Most people are libertarian.
Yeah.
They just don't know it.
Yeah.
They want to be left alone.
Mm-hmm.
They want to do what they want to do.
Right.
They want to keep most of their money.
Right.
And
I want to keep all of my money.
They want to, most people recognize, we got to have, there must be taxes because we've got to have schools, we've got to have roads, we've got to have social services. Here's where the dividing part comes. We don't want too many social services. And I've said this before, welfare is great up until a certain point, and then you got to stand on your own 2 feet.
Yes.
The problem with that is the bootstrap theory. Republicans say, well, people got to pull themselves up by their bootstraps. Well, half the people they want to pull up by their bootstraps don't have no damn shoes, let alone boots. They can't pull themselves up. And these are the people that are being right now. The president has enacted some measures that are going to hit. They're going to hit some of these social services. They're going to hit a lot of people, and that's driving a lot of Republicans to the Democrats. A lot of Democrats are being driven toward the Republican Party. And what's going to happen, and I've said this has happened before, in an election, side switch, but it stays the same. There's still a deadlock.
Here's my opinion on the matter. As far as welfare is concerned, there was a time in this country where in order to receive welfare, you had to have some sort of a job.
Well, you had to be looking for a job. You had to prove that you were looking for jobs.
I'm talking like way, way, way back in the day. You want welfare? Take this broom and start sweeping the street.
You're talking Franklin Roosevelt,
yes.
the New Deal. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it's gotten away from that. The WPA program, it's definitely escaped and gotten way far away from that. But what I'm talking about is entitlement programs in general. They're being hit really hard right now, and to the amount that they're being hit, they're not. It's not like we're saving billions of trillions of dollars. It's not like the money that we're saving is going to have any major impact on the economy.
Right.
By the same token, the president has rolled back programs that affect the environment. Mm-hmm. He's allowing water to be polluted more, air to be polluted more. And the things that he's doing, and here's the thing that most people don't realize nor give a shit about, is that he is doing this to his own benefit.
Yeah.
It's not benefiting. It's hurting the environment. But it's not benefiting. If you were saving billions and billions of dollars, that'd be one thing. But he's not. The amount of money that's being saved by rolling back these environmental protections does nothing except help a few wealthy people that are going to look after him once he gets out of office.
You know, you're talking about the environment thing, and you know, all I can picture in my head right now is Greta Thunberg going,
God.
"How dare you? How dare you?"
An angry teenager that doesn't know why she's angry. No, I'm just kidding. And you know the meme, meme with Smudge the cat. Smudge always comes out on top. Yeah, it's a cool meme where she says, "Time Magazine voted me Person of the Year," and Smudge the cat says, "Good job. They killed 10 million trees to print those magazines." You environmentalist, you.
You know, and there's all this shit about her, you know, riding on the train, going all over the fucking country over there while she's eating from, you know, throwaway plastic containers. And
well, you know, it's true. You got to practice what you preach, but you can only do it you can only go so far. I'm not defending her. I really don't have an opinion on the young girl. I don't really care.
My opinion is her opinion is just like everybody else's opinion.
We've all got one, and most of them stink.
Yes, so just fucking keep it to yourself.
But speaking of the environment, we had and going back to politics, during we had earthquakes earlier this month in Puerto Rico, and then back during Hurricane Maria, we sent aid to Puerto Rico a long time ago, and they've just now recently discovered, fed up with what they say is corruption, the people of Puerto Rico are demanding the resignation of Governor Wanda Vasquez, and they're claiming that she was hiding disaster supplies.
Well, they're not claiming. They were. They found the disaster supplies. All of the aid that Puerto Rican officials say that they never received from President Trump as hurricane relief. You know, all of these. You know, the water and blankets and supplies that they needed for hurricane relief that they said Trump never sent them because Trump's a racist has been found in a warehouse in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, in Ponce, city of Ponce. It says the warehouse. They found a warehouse that was filled with supplies. I'm talking pallets of baby food, expired water, tarps, gas stoves, diapers, cots, air mattresses, sheets, all kinds of stuff. All while these people still sleep in, you know, destroyed communities. And the guy that did it, a blogger. You got to love these bloggers that have, you know, blogs and podcasts. Lorenzo Delgado was tipped off about a government-run warehouse, and he went to find it, and he posted what he found. And the stream, oh, man, you want to talk about civil unrest.
Yeah.
Riots in the streets. It's really getting out of hand down there. And, you know, this is one of those things where I have to when I first heard about the allegations that Trump didn't send any aid, it didn't really sound right. But again, and I say this you got to take this with a grain of salt, and you got to understand where I'm coming from here. Nothing that the President Trump does surprises me anymore. I mean, it's almost like. It's almost like you're dealing with a mentally challenged child sometimes.
Right.
You take his phone away from him. Don't let him tweet anymore. But you never can be surprised with what he does. I mean, one day he will, he'll do something great one day that I go, this is awesome. Good job, Mr. President. And the next day it's like, what the hell were you thinking? Why did you do that? One day he may, roll back protections, the Clean Water Act or the Clean Air Act. And the next day he may, sign into legislation creating a new national park or saving a spotted owl or something. It's like you never know where the hell he's going with anything. No, you don't. It's one pendulum swings one way to the other. And when I first heard about the allegations that he didn't send, it didn't sound just right. And then Delgado here posted, and I just can't understand why they didn't pass out the supplies, why they did not distribute these things to help their own people.
Well, I think, and this is just my personal opinion. I know what I said about opinions earlier, but this is just my personal opinion. The controlling party in Puerto Rico right now aligns themselves with the Democratic Party in the U.S. So
they thought that if they withheld the supplies, that it would
look bad for President Trump, and it would. Well, now we've found out that not only did Trump send the aid, it's not like he sent it down there and it fell off the back of the truck. He sent them the aid, and they withheld it from the community in an effort to tarnish the president's reputation. Well,
the head of their version of FEMA, the Emergency Management Agency, Carlos Acevedo, issued a statement saying that I think he said the supplies are being distributed, and he denied allegations that the resources were going to waste. And the people, that didn't help him a whole lot. He needed protection. He needed police help because people literally wanted to hang him in the streets. And within hours of discovering this, Governor Vasquez fired him. But that doesn't help the tens of thousands of people that have no place to live, that have no water, no food.
That could have benefited from those supplies.
Yeah, and Vasquez is fired. She fired more people in the cabinet, housing secretary, and Department of Family secretary, and she said that these positions required public trust, and she lost confidence in them. You think? I mean, I don't understand. I find it difficult to believe that is the. I mean, it could be. This could be true, but I find it difficult to believe that a party would go to that length to discredit the sitting president without thinking that this could somehow come back and bite them in the ass. Well, I mean, that's just ridiculous.
I mean, it's funny that you bring that up because and this is going to get back to the impeachment thing. Just recently, a video has surfaced from a private dinner in 2018 between President Trump and
Lev Parnas.
Well,
he was a guest at the dinner.
He was a guest at the dinner,
right.
Yes. Lev Parnas and his associate, Igor Fruman, former business associates of Trump's
Rudy
personal
Giuliani.
Lawyer,
Crazy
Rudy Giuliani.
Stupid head.
I'm not a stupid head. You're a stupid head.
Crazy Rudy. We haven't heard a lot about Rudy lately.
It has been quiet about
Rudy has had a bad case of shut the fuck up, hasn't he?
I think he has.
I mean, he just poured himself a nice cold glass of shut the fuck up. And we haven't heard anything from him. He hasn't come out in defense, hasn't said anything. I think he's still in the Ukraine. And I last I heard, he actually went to the Ukraine to still try and push this and try and help the president. And I don't think he's come back.
I don't think he has either.
I would be surprised if he didn't. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't come back. Rudy just kind of disappeared.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to this dinner.
Yeah. So, like I said, this video just surfaced, and it's a long video. It's about an hour and a half long video, and it was secret footage. You know, at the very start of the video.
Now, that in itself bothers me because, I mean, this was recorded secretly.
Yeah.
Why were they recording it?
Yeah. You know, at the very start of the video, the individual recording, I don't know if it was Lev Parnas or Igor Fruman that was recording, but he was told by an official at the dinner, and it's quoted in the video too. He's told, you know, you don't need to be recording. There's going to be people here who probably don't want their pictures taken, all of that other stuff. You know, again, this is a intimate dinner.
Right.
This is a private setting. This is not like a correspondence dinner where you've got all these cameras and all of this other shit. So,
but if when you're the president of the United States, even when you're in private, nothing is private.
Right.
When you're in the White House, everything is recorded.
yes.
Everything is recorded, and when you're, he's the president of the United States, the most ostensibly the most powerful man in the world, and you have to know that when you're in that position, everything you say is going to be dissected, everything you say is going to be recorded.
Yes.
So for him to say, and this is a quote, "Get her out tomorrow, take her out, okay, do it."
Yeah. Now he's not talking about, you know, Godfather, take her out, and
Is
you
he?
know, put.
Do you know that? Do you know that? Because then he made threats to her later on that said things are going to happen to you. Things are going to happen. That's what he said. Things are going to happen to you. I mean, why? When the president says that, I mean, you know, if Hillary Clinton said that, I would head for the hills, okay? I would hide. But I mean, even so, President Trump saying that, this is a man with lots of money and lots of power.
Yeah. Now here's the thing about it. You know, yes, he is saying,
get her out tomorrow, take her out.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't think I would have used those words. Take her out, fire her, remove her from her office.
Yeah.
Revoke her credentials, send her home.
Yeah.
Use that kind of language, but take her out? That's mobster talk, not commander-in-chief talk.
Well, I mean, hey, he's from New York, okay?
No, whatever.
So, but no, here's the thing about it. So, you know, every article that I've read about this, that's their main focus of the headline is Trump saying, "Get rid of her."
Right.
Fire her, take her out, whatever. But here's the thing about it. This was in April of 2018.
Mm-hmm.
What they're not emphasizing from this video is Parnas telling the president, and this is a quote from the video. This is Parnas saying to the president, the biggest problem there, I think where we need to start is we've got to get rid of the ambassador. She's still left over from the Clinton administration. She's basically walking around telling everybody, wait, he's going to get impeached. Just wait. End quote. Now, this is in April of 2018. Even if there is an impeachable offense now, in April of 2018, there was no impeachable offense. So this is... You know, this is showing that they have been out to get him, trying to impeach him before he ever did anything wrong. Well, and that, to me, you know, if you are an appointed official, say in an ambassador's position, if you are an appointed official and you're going around telling officials of a foreign country, foreign government, that the president's going to just wait. He's going to get his. Just wait. He'll be impeached. Just wait for it.
Well, here's the thing. She's the expert on Russia, Ukraine and Russia. So this could go back to when he was elected and the alleged collusion with Russia and Russia's interference with the American elections. Maybe she had some knowledge of that. Maybe that is what precipitated her to say that. We don't know.
But, you know, this is April of 2018. Had the Mueller report already not been completed by that time, showing that there was no collusion between Russia and the U.S. in the election?
Well, when the Mueller report came out, this video had already been made in 2018. Well, this goes back to what the Russians were supposedly doing at the election of President Trump, which was communicating with his campaign, communicating with members of his campaign committee, campaign managers, etc. And the report stated that this had been done conclusively, that there had been communication. Now, whether or not there was actual interference That's kind of left open to interpretation. What do you consider interference? How would you define it? Definitely, in his own report, he said that the American people should be very concerned about this.
Right.
Now, let's go back to Jovanovic. I'm sorry. Perhaps she knew of this before anybody else did because she was the leading expert on Russia and the Ukraine. She was the ambassador. And for all that we know, she may have had firsthand knowledge of this. She may have known about the collusion, about the Russian interference. And President Trump knew that she knew. So naturally, he would want her out of office.
Well,
And she's a holdover from the Clinton administration. There is that.
Well, actually, she goes all the way back to the Reagan administration when she was working for the State Department.
Well, career diplomats work for Republicans and Democrats
They
alike.
do. But, my argument is she is an ambassador to the United States. She is a representative of, like you said, she's a career politician. She is a representative of the current office and administration to a foreign government.
Right.
And for her to be going around telling foreign government officials,
it's inappropriate. Yes.
It's extremely inappropriate, and I would say, borderline treasonous.
Treason. That goes a bit far. I disagree. I wouldn't say it was treasonous, especially if the statements that she knew, if she stated this knowing that there was definite proof of Russian interference in an American election. Yes, she could say with authority he's going to be impeached if she knew this. Well, she didn't know he's going to be impeached, but she knew he's going to be removed from office. But she knew there was going to be an impeachment, and she was right. He has been impeached.
But
now, what
for
you're
a totally different reason.
But what you're trying to say is that's the reason why he wanted her out of office. Okay, let's look at a bigger picture here. The president's saying he had no idea who Lev Parnas was. And then the recording of him actually telling Lev Parnas, we got to get Jovanovic out of there.
Right. But, again, he's the president of the United States. He meets hundreds of people every day. He has hundreds of conversations every day. So, this could have just been a one-and-done encounter.
You sound like Stephanie Grisham, the White House press secretary. I mean, that's pretty much what she said. He meets, lots and lots of people.
He does. I mean, he's the president. Of course he does.
But if you're talking about removing your ambassador to Russia, I think he would probably remember that conversation.
Again, he may very well. He could be lying about the whole thing.
You think?
I'm looking at it as I don't fucking remember what I ate for breakfast this morning.
Well, you would think,
and you think if I'm just having one conversation with an individual, regardless of the topic. If I only have one conversation with an individual, I'm expected to remember that I had an interaction with this individual 2 years ago?
If you are the chief diplomat of the United States, which is what the president is, when the president says something, that is the authority. When the president says something, that is policy. That is the way things are going to be. So whenever you have a conversation with somebody and you say, we need to take her out, speaking about your ambassador to Russia, I think that's a conversation that if you're the commander-in-chief of the United States, you ought to remember.
It could very well be. But again, like I said, this could be, as far as just him saying, I don't know this individual and all this other stuff. Like I said, that video, that dinner, that could have been a one-and-done thing. He may have never had any interaction with him ever again after that.
Well, then again, and also the recording, he states, he asks a person, and it seems like it's Lev Parnas that he's talking to. It's kind of hard to determine. But in the recording, he says, how long do you think the Ukraine would last in a fight to Russia? Quote. And Parnas says, without us, meaning the United States and the Trump administration, not very long. And another person chimes in about 30 minutes. And then, of course, we all know that he he cut off military aid to the Ukraine until the quid pro quo that supposedly didn't happen. We're not even going to go down that rabbit trail. But all this, the biggest thing about all this is he wanted, and this is how I conclude it, and I could be wrong, and a lot of people will disagree with me, and that's fine because you're entitled to your opinion. I think that he knew Jovanovic, however you want to say her name, I think that he knew that she was privy to some information about the 2016 election. And I think that's the reason why he wanted her out of office. Now, if she was privy to that, she should have kept her mouth shut. She should have, as they used to teach us in law school, if you've got a document or a statement or some information that's just going to blow this case apart, you want to hold that close to your vest. You want to keep that in your briefcase until the last possible moment and then go, oh, by the way, check this out. Instead of running your mouth saying he's going to be impeached. What possessed her to do that? A career diplomat. I can't imagine somebody who's worked for the State Department that long would say something like that without having credible knowledge that the president was indeed going to be removed or impeached.
Well, I mean, you also would think that
the president of the United States wouldn't say take her out either.
Well, there's that, but I'm also going back to you would think an FBI agent who's fucking around with secretary or whatever the hell she was, whatever her position was, sending text messages to one another about the election. Oh my God, he's not going to be elected, is he? No,
right?
He's not. We'll see to it.
Well, you would think this doesn't go on, but it happens much more frequently than most Americans, most anybody knows. It happens, and in this day and age, I don't know what idiots would leave a digital footprint. I mean, earlier in the show, we talk about a thug that's able to elude the police for almost a year now.
A kid.
An idiot, a coward, a moron that killed 2 people. He's able to elude the police and erase his digital footprint. And we've got career diplomats and people in Washington in positions of power that can't shut their damn mouths long enough or stay off the tweet or stay off a messenger or text message. They can't cover up their trail. I mean, it's this is two-part. It's really mind-boggling that people of this caliber, of this degree of intellect, do something so stupid.
Yeah. But, like I always have said, it takes a college education to break it and a high school education to fix it.
Never heard that one, but,
well, that's an air winger thing because, you think about it, you got to be a pilot and have a college – or to be a pilot in the military, you got to have a college degree. And then, to
fix the
plane. Fix the broken plane, you can be a friggin' PFC, Lance Corporal, all that shit. So.
Exactly.
So, but we're running short on time here, so I'm going to take the opportunity real quick again to reiterate Jory Worthen.
Yes.
Please go on our Facebook page, find his wanted poster, and share it and get the word out about this individual so we can try and bring this individual into justice.
He's eluded police, but he can't. You can run, but you can't hide. And this guy is eventually going to be found. The more people that share this, the more people share the information, the more people that pass the word, this just exposes him that much more.
Yes.
And it's that greater chance we got of bringing this gutless coward, getting him by the long arm of the law.
Yes, absolutely. So, again, as we always do, big shout out to the troops overseas. We appreciate everything y'all are doing on the home front and overseas for us. Keep up the good work. Come home safe. We're all rooting for you here. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow evening to my show, 2AT, Second Amendment Talk, with me and Rod Burks.
Country music.
Yeah.
If you like good country music, be sure and tune in. 105.1 WQSB, online at WQSB.com. I'm on the air from 7 to midnight, Monday through Friday, and from noon until 6 on Saturday. So be sure and tune in and call at 1-800-233-1051 and put your request in.
Dusk with Donnie. So, yeah, I got nothing else. It's been a good show.
Great show. And again, our hearts and our prayers go out to the family of the 30 Marines and 1 sailor that were killed in that airplane and that helicopter crash.
Yes, and to Kobe Bryant's family as well.
Yes.
Yes, and the other victims in that crash. So, thanks for tuning in to Armed Radio and listening. This has been Two Beards Talking. I'm Daniel Sanders.
And I'm DonnieJ.
Thanks for listening, everybody.